Thank you so much for joining us today. Using Technology to Engage Students Part 2, presented by Dr. Rosa. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone to part two of our technology webinar and our engagement series. If you did not see part one, no need to panic. You can watch that on demand. For part one, we looked at two different software, Flipgrid and Kahoot. So hopefully some of you who attended part one were able to create your accounts and start using them. And today we're going to go into two different engagement resources that you can use with your students. And that is Quizlet and Nearpod. So thank you very much for attending today. I know there's a million things you could be focusing on in the world. So I'm glad you're taking this opportunity to focus on your professional development. And together we're going to come up with ways to help engage your students through these challenging times. So we have different outcomes for today's session. We're going to identify the benefits of using technology in the classroom, create free accounts for Nearpod and Quizlet, and learn the basic functionalities of Nearpod and Quizlet. Today, we're just exposing you to the concepts and the functionalities and the features. By all means, is this not enough? But hopefully this will get you to at least spark you to create your accounts, and then definitely put it on your calendar to come back to it, because a lot of this, although we're going to go over it, you will have the PowerPoint, you can watch it on demand when it's posted, but you also need to set the time and use it before you forget. So think about, as we're going through this, what is something you could immediately do if you're interested in this these tools, immediately do to apply it and then start practicing and set time on your schedule. So the first thing we're going to talk about is Quizlet for today. So when you think about Quizlet, almost the word, it's in the word quiz. It's in ways for your students to study using flashcards, matching, different ways they can do things, math problems, vocabulary, things that they can do to help with their learning modes. So for example, if we didn't have this software, perhaps you had flashcards or you had little post-it notes and sticky notes if you're trying to learn or memorize something. So this takes away all that and makes it all electronic so that students can test themselves. And then you can also test students using the Quizlet feature. So in the United States, half of all high school students and a third of all college students use this every month. So you may already be exposed to Quizlet, or maybe have and do not recall, or they did not tell you it was Quizlet, but hopefully maybe some of you have already used this. And globally, over 100 million users have created study sets, and 40 million users every month use Quizlet. So few facts to hone in how important this tool can be and how effective it could be when used properly. So here are just some of the basic functionality of Quizlet and what are some of the benefits of using Quizlet in your middle schools and high schools. So it functions as a memorization tool to assist students learning. If you can recall, if you are at an age where you were able to play the game memory when you were little, where you would have all these cards, you flip them over and you get to see, try and match them to help you learn different concepts. Well, this is very similar, but the electronic version. It offers a variety of learning modes, including 4 study modes and 2 study games. So when you have your terminology in Quizlet, you can have different learning modes. You can have flashcards, and that is just, creating basic flashcards. You can have it you could do practice spelling. It'll read it for you. It'll read the word and you can type what you hear. So that's the spelling feature. There's a learn mode where you can learn call and response types. So you'll be able to flip the flashcards back and forth and be able to repeat what you're seeing. It also generates random tests. So if you wanted to actually use it as a test, set up a class and give students a certain period of time to work on it and use it and score it, then it will do that for you. There's also different games to get those students focused and engaged that like games and enjoy that modality. There's the scattered game, which later on we're actually going to play the scattered game where you match terms and definitions. And there's also like a space race game where you can type while memorizing. So not only do you get to create Quizlets, but the students on their own could create Quizlets or do it with their parents or create Quizlets and then share it with others. So it's a great way for students to communicate, for parents to communicate, and to get everyone involved in the learning process. The biggest thing, of course, it is free. So you can sign up just by, especially if you have a Microsoft email or Google email, then it's very easy for you to sign up. I believe you could even sign up with a Facebook account and it's free. You don't have to install any additional software. So everything is housed for you in the website. It can be operated in mobile devices. So you can have the Quizlet go through a website, or you can have students use an app. I downloaded the app too, and it's multi-language. So you can type similar, if you attended last week and you saw the Flipgrid, you can have multiple languages. So you type the information and then it translates to multiple languages. So very good for English language learners. Some more benefits to using Quizlets. So Quizlet reads the words and definition to the students out loud. This helps them with their pronunciation. And as I stated previously, that's especially important for all students, but also students with who are English language learners. Quizlet provides targeted spelling feedback. So in the speller studying mode, students hear the target word spoken out loud and then see a written definition on the screen. Quizlet provides adaptive training to help students focus on the items most difficult for them. In the learn mode, Quizlet tests students one item at a time. The items the student performs more poorly on are brought back for further review to help students focus their efforts on items which they have not yet learned or which are more difficult to remember. So this gives students their ownership over their learning and also meets them at their level, hoping to raise them to provide those high expectations to make them at a level of performance that is satisfactory. Quizlet generates customizable randomized tests for your students to boost their long-term memory. So you can change the order of the options. So students can take it multiple times and then practice for their speed. And then your students can export or mix and match different card sets together to create a personalized deck. So if you're teaching math and you're doing 1+1s and then doing the 2s and then the 3s and then the 5s, you can have them separate, or you can then put them all together. So here are the steps to using Quizlet. For those of you that are watching on demand or even in person, you may want to print these out or pause the recording now and then actually open up in a new tab the Quizlet. But we're going to go over it through the PowerPoint, and then I'm also going to do some hands-on demonstration for you. So we're going to do both with our time for those of you that are here live. So to create a Quizlet account, you're click on that website, Quizlet.com, or do a Google search for Quizlet, and you'll create your account. Then you have the option, you can create a set, if you wanted to create a set of questions. So for example, in the example we're gonna do later on, I set some math problems that we're gonna do together. So those are my sets of questions. So you could either create a single question set each time by clicking create at the top of the Quizlet screen, or you may wanna create a folder. So if you want, like I said, the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, or period 6, period 5. So if you want to make multiple sets for different classes, so you click on the create folder to the left-hand side of the Quizlet homepage. Once you create your questions And I recommend that you do it in Word, and then you can either copy and paste or type directly in to the items that you're selecting. You can share the quiz via a URL. So once you're done your question set, share the quiz URL for students to use as an independent study and review. If sharing the URL, simply click the share arrow beneath your set and hit copy link to paste to a learning management system or alternative method of sharing. If you're doing hybrid or you're doing in-person, this is one tool also that you can have students do at their own pace, or you can do it live and have all students be able to do it at the same time, whether you're teaching them in person or at home. So you can play live with your face-to-face classes on your laptop or your computer. You can have everyone log in, load your question set, select live, and then create the game. You want to make sure your display is viewable to the students, and then students can use their own devices similar to the Kahoot, and they go to the URL quizlet.com/live to enter the room number. So that's another great feature for those of you that are balancing teaching your students that are in front of you and at home. So here's just a little warning. So just so you know, as you are creating these, some things that may not work successfully. So you may want to avoid some of these. So students try to use your question set for independent study in a format that does not translate well and leads to student frustration. So you want to make sure, as you do for any technology that you introduce, provide step-by-step instructions so students don't automatically get deterred by the technology and then just delete or erase or not want to participate. Especially with this generation, is very quick to just delete apps and find a new one. So we want to teach them the patience and the problem solving to get through it. So it depends on how you've created your sets. Some of the practice options may not bode well. For example, there's a gravity game, and I'm going to show you how to do that. If a student adds their name to your live Quizlet game, but then leaves the class or decides not to play, that student's going to always be on there. So it's recommended for a preventive measure for this to verbally ask students only to add their names if they're intending to stay. That way it doesn't factor into your results, and you're not waiting on that person. And then if the internet goes down when using the live quiz in class, if this happens, you can reassure your students that you can resume the quiz or reset and start again once the internet is back. If your internet is down for so long that your class ends before you complete the live quiz, you can always give students the URL to quiz themselves outside of class. So once you give the students the URL, they can go in and practice as much as they want. And the incentive for them would probably be to beat their time. So if you give them 20 vocabulary words and they have to match the vocabulary words, the word with the definition, and they do it in a minute and 45 seconds, then you want to challenge them to maybe beat that, and to also follow up and email you and contact you, even though you can see the scores, but so that you know that they're paying attention, you may want them to contact you to let them know what their score is and whether they've improved or not. So we're going to watch a quick video, hopefully this will work, on how to play Quizlet Live. So this is a quick 2-minute video.
Meet Quizlet Live, the easy-to-use classroom game that blends competition and collaboration to engage every student in learning. Quizlet Live groups students into teams that must work together to win. While teams are prompted with the same set of questions, each teammate sees different possible answers, and only one person per team has the match. Students need to communicate to choose the correct answer and move forward in the game. As they play, the teacher's screen acts as an interactive leaderboard, tracking each team's progress and adding fire to the competition. If a team answers incorrectly, they go all the way back to the start, so choosing simply for speed won't work. Instead, the stronger their teamwork, the faster they'll go. And the first team to correctly answer all questions in a row wins. When the game ends, the teacher can lead a class review or easily start a new round to give students another chance at glory. To play, you'll need an internet connection, one device per student, a teacher-controlled computer, and a way to project. Start by logging into your Quizlet account and choosing a study set. Select Live to generate a game code, then project your screen so your class can see. Have students open the Quizlet app or go to quizlet.live in their browser. After they enter the code, they can add their name to join the game. Everyone in? Your students will be instantly grouped into teams. If possible, ask them to get up to sit with their teammates. When they're settled, start the game and let the fun begin. Quizlet Live. Competition, collaboration, ultimate student engagement. Free for all teachers on Quizlet.
Okay, so that is that. Let me go back to my PowerPoint. Hold on.
Hi, I'm Dr.
So that is a demonstration on how to use the Quizlet and the live feature. So you can, similar to Kahoot, for those of you that set it up last week, but this is just a different format. So you can do it live. The demonstration we're gonna do is not gonna be live, but it'll be you playing around with the Quizlet and then providing me with your scores in the chat. All right, so here are some best practices to use Quizlet. You can do it before a new lesson plan, just to expose students to see what they're learning. So you can almost use like a pre and a post assessment. So you can use it as an assessment, informal assessment, to expose students to whatever you're trying to learn, whether it be the terminology or whether it be math. You can start with a flashcard and then move on to the matching game, which I'm going to show you all the different ways you could do that. Or the day before the test, you can have students take a practice test through Quizlet. So they can do that, and they can do it as often and how many times they want, and that would help them with their scores. All right, so let's get out of here. And now we're going to go to actually see the Quizlet website. So here I am going to my Quizlet website. Let me go to the home feature. And then you could see here, this is my Quizlet. So when you log on to Quizlet.com, it'll ask you to either create an account or use your Microsoft account, through your school. So my school already has a Microsoft account, so I just entered my username and password, and it just associated with the same thing with my email. You do have the option to upgrade. So if you like and enjoy the feature, you can upgrade for free for 30 days. Just be careful. Right now we're using the free version. When I set up my account, it kept saying upgrade, upgrade, upgrade. And you don't want to upgrade until you're free for 30 days. You want to upgrade until you're familiar with the free version. So I recommend do not upgrade now. Use the free version. And then after a while, if you want to do more of the bells and whistles, then do that. Then upgrade and get the free 30 days to see if you like it. But here you are at the Quizlet homepage. This is the homepage. Let's click on home. And since I'm logged in, it tells me which one, the Quizlets that I have made. So I created one for you, which we'll do later. If I had different sets, if I had math, or let's say I had English and then I had history, it would have different sets, or it can have different folders. If I wanted to create a folder, and let's say I wanted to title this the webinar 11.4, 11.3, and attendees. So I can create a folder here and then enroll all of you in this, or I can create a folder that says math, English, or I can be more specific, 4th grade math, 5th grade English. So I can create some folders if I wanted to. Also, I can set up classes. So if I clicked on classes, I can enroll my students in classes if I wanted to do that. I created a technology part 2 class. So in theory, if I wanted to, I would invite you or enroll you all in there just by clicking on either or give you the link, and you can see the link right here. So let's say I wanted to create a Quizlet from scratch. So I click on create. And I can, I could say math 101, working with math. Since I already have an existing Quizlet, what I'm going to do now is actually have you use it, and then I'm going to use that as an example. So this is what we're going to do. So in about 30 seconds, we're going to post a link in the chat. And this is a link to a Quizlet, and it's going to be a matching game. So you're going to see like 1 + 1 on one card, and then you're going to see somewhere on the board, you're going to see 2, and you're going to drag the 1 + 1 to the 2. So this is going to be a matching game. There's going to be 10 math problems, all multiplication. You have to match the multiplication with the answer. So when I say go, we're going to post that link on the computer so you can click on it. Hopefully it'll open in a new tab, or copy and paste in the new tab, and then just try and match. And then we'll see, you'll come back and post in the chat how long it took you to complete the items. So once again, you're going to see 10 math problems, 10 questions and 10 answers. You match the question with the answer. So you'll see 4 × 4, and you'll see 16. Drag 4 × 4 to 16, and then boom, that'll be one correct answer. All righty, so don't stress out. This is just for fun. So go ahead and let's post that link in the chat, and then we will start the game. And I will also be playing as well. And then let me know what you did, so that you, for those of you that don't, for some reason can't do it, I'm going to do it live with you now. So you're going to go ahead and start matching. So yes, we're doing a refresher in math. Oh, wow, we have some fast math people here. And then as you can see, so continue. And if you want, you could play again to see if you can do a faster time. So I'm going to do that just to see. And because I have so many math problems in there, it actually gives me some different, oops, hold on. All right, so as you can see now, all right, well, thank you very much for playing. Bright Eyes 377, you are a genius. So this is, we've just played it. So I thank you very much if you were able to play it. If you're watching this on record, you should be able to copy and paste the link, or write down the link, take a picture, put it, and you'll be able to play too. So as you can see, we played the nice little game, and it gave us how many seconds and then a ranking. So that's one way to have students practice their math and other things. So let me go back here. Oops, it wants me to play again and give you the options. So here it is. I created a Quizlet. So I hit create, and I just made all these study guides. So once again, Math 101. If I enter 4 × 4 and then enter the definition, and it already populates it for me, 16. That's one flashcard. So this is how you create the flashcards. You can even do, capitals, whatever you can think of is in there. So let me go back. And so there's a flashcard option. Here I have 4 × 4. I click on it, 16. I can go to the next flashcard. 12 × 9, click on it, 108. 11 × 11, 121. So I can do a flashcard option once they're created. I can click on learn, and it gives me multiple choice. So here is 132. So if I click on 12 × 11, it says correct. 9, 3 times 3. So I can do learn option with that. I can write it out. So type the answer, 11. It's more challenging with math to do typing out. 11 times 12. See, and it has to be exact. So I typically don't do this one because I didn't put 12 times 11. It said I was incorrect, but you can override it. So you can override it. You can use the spell. Since this is math, it's not.
9x9. 9x9.
So imagine that this was a vocabulary word, then it would
9x9.
it would pronounce it. And then it could also generate a test. Here are 3 matching questions. So all I did was input the flashcards and it created this test with 3 written questions, 3 matching questions, and 2 multiple choice and 2 true false. So hopefully you're starting to see the many advantages of using Quizlet. There's match game, you could do match. So if I click on match, that's what we just did. So we're not going to play again because I don't want to embarrassingly lose again. And then there's a gravity game. This one's interesting too. So you can click on gravity. And you'll see the answers stop putting on. There they are falling, and you have to type in the answer before it hits. So there I am, I typed 132. And then if for some reason I don't know the answer or I typed the wrong one, I'll type 16, even though I know it's 20, it will hit the bottom of the screen, and then it'll tell me that the correct answer was 20. So that's very cool. And then we saw the video for live. If we wanted to do it live, we could do that too. So these are the different things you can do when you create your cards. There's also a million existing Quizlets. Well, not a million, quite a few. So let's say I want to search for diversity. Click on diversity. I may have to go to my home page. And here are all, and I can see all free or premium. So I'm going to click on the free sets. And I can use sets. I can look for study guides. So that we don't have any but free. So these are all the free. There's premium. So these are all the free Quizlets that are available to me with the term diversity. So you may not have to reinvent the wheel. Last time I put in the word anatomy. So let me put anatomy. Hit search. I'm going to click on the free ones and look at these cool things that are already in there for free for you. So I encourage you to look at the free options available. And then if you go on the premium and it looks like that's something you want to invest in, do that. Finally, I'm going to look at capitals. And I'm going to go to the free ones. And you can even have, look at that, 210 capitals. So the flag and the capital. Now, of course, these are something other people have done. So you want to check for accuracy. You can create your own study set. So let's say you want these capitals here. You want 210 capitals. You click on it. There it is. You have the option to add this to your own folder. So you can just, instead of searching all the time, you could add it to your folder. You can customize it. So this is 210. Let's say you only wanted 200. You can customize it by clicking and then only importing 200. This gives you the option to share. So if you wanted to share it with your students directly, you can do that. And this has more information. And then this also gives you the option to score it and rate the set. So if you want to help the user rate it, you can print it, export it, you can embed it. And if it was inappropriate, you could report it. So those are all the different options you have to either create or to have your own. So this is Quizlet. I hope you enjoy, once again, just being exposed to Quizlet, seeing what's in there, seeing the possibilities, and then maybe at the Thanksgiving dinner, you can play a Quizlet with your family if you can't find any immediate use for your classroom. So we're gonna pause and go on to the next item, but mark it on your calendar to set up your free Quizlet, download the app, and make sure you set some time to use it and see if it's right for you. If it's worth clicking on premium and you see things that you think would be you want to invest in to save time, then do the free 30-day trial before you upgrade would be my suggestion. But remember, the free version is free. You don't need a 30-day trial. So that is Quizlet. Now we're going to move on to Nearpod. So Nearpod has basically almost everything you ever wanted. So I'm turning on my camera. So you want to not be overwhelmed by the amount that you see here. We are just going to expose you to some of the things that are there. We can do a part 3 webinar. If those of you who are live and enjoying it, we can go deeper into Nearpod. That's how much material there is. So just going to expose you to create your account, and then we can go from there. So in Nearpod, it's basically like one big PowerPoint presentation, but it's a Nearpod presentation. And when you create your presentations in Nearpod, it gives you all these different bells and whistles. So students interact, engage, and participate through facilitated synchronous and asynchronous learning activities created by the academic via a bespoke online platform. These learning activities range from slide annotations to quizzes. You could even do a virtual tour. I saw a very touching story of someone who their grandmother was sick and couldn't travel. So they made a Nearpod presentation of all of the different places the grandmother wanted to visit, where she was able to click on the places and get like a virtual tour. This is supported by the Florida Department of Education. So if you want to go to their website and see this and all the other resources they have available, you can click on the Florida Department of Education website and click on Nearpod. They have a COVID-19 Nearpod that they are encouraging classrooms to use for their students to understand more about the virus. But let's click on this little YouTube video to get an introduction to Nearpod.
Introducing Nearpod. With Nearpod, you can make every lesson interactive. Launch lessons your students can't wait to join with collaborative, engaging activities like virtual reality, simulations, and gamified quizzes. As the teacher, you'll always know where your students are with Nearpod's formative assessments, including polls, open-ended questions, draw-its, and more. Get started with what you already have. Upload any of your favorite resources, PowerPoints, Google Slides, and videos, including directly from YouTube. Then, add in media and formative assessment in a few clicks. And now you can add questions directly into videos to make them interactive. Get started even faster with our library of pre-made lessons and videos, built in partnership with some of your favorite brands. You can use them as is or customize to meet the unique needs of your students. Once you're ready to launch your lesson, choose from 3 teaching modes. In live participation mode, you control the pace and students participate on their devices, either in person or remotely with web conferencing. In student-paced mode, students move through and participate on their own, whether they're working from home or in class working in centers, stations, or groups. With front-of-class mode, you can use Nearpod without student devices and facilitate collaborative discussions. Imagine what you can do with Nearpod. Your students will love lessons that combine engaging media with collaborative ways for them to show off how much they've learned. You'll love unlocking student understanding in real time and having reports to inform the next day's instruction. You'll wonder how you taught without it. Learn more and get started for free at nearpod.com.
So that's a quick little introductory video talking about Nearpod. Hopefully that's very exciting. I encourage you that if you have a PowerPoint presentation coming up, that in order to practice this tool, just do it in Nearpod. So there are 9 ways to use, these are the most common ways to use Nearpod. So you can just use it to do a presentation. So if you have to create a presentation through PowerPoint, if you have your students to do presentations, they can do it with Nearpod. You can customize so that learners can learn at their own pace. You can fill your presentation with images or worksheets and ask the students to use the student notes feature to save the presentation to their drive to access the information later when studying for an exam or completing homework. You can have live formative assessment. There's quizzes, polls, open-ended questions, matching pairs. So as you're going through your presentation, you can click on the next slide and the slide will have one of these formative assessments. So it's not like you're pulling up another tune or pausing things. These things are just happening naturally. Ongoing assessment, when the students have finished a quiz, Nearpod will automatically create a report for you. You can access the reports directly through the app, or you can download the data as PDFs or CSVs. You can do self-assessment. Nearpod contains the option of inserting a poll. So just like we did a poll in the beginning of this through Zoom, you could do the same thing in Nearpod and get immediate feedback. There's modeling. There's a feature called Draw It, and it's like a whiteboard, so students can go on and use the different tools and buttons to draw on it. So that's something for those students that may like more images instead or more creative in that aspect. There are open-ended tasks. So the open-ended question feature allows the teacher to pose a question or set up a scenario for the students to respond to. So you pose the question and then students just give feedback right there and it pops up on the screen. There's setting homework. So all the above examples revolve around the idea of using Nearpod as a live session, but students can engage on their own time. You can create the Nearpod and just send it to them, and then students can complete it at their own pace. You can even provide them a code and they can access the Nearpod anywhere there's an internet connection. And just like Quizlet, and just like you were able to Kahoot, where you're able to search for existing things, there's also pre-made resources that you can use here just by sorting for free. So what do you need to use the Nearpod? You need an internet connection. And you can also have the app, so a phone, a tablet for the teacher, lecturer, facilitator, internet connected devices for the students, so one for the teacher, one for the students, a stable Wi-Fi connection, a Nearpod account for the teacher and the student, and then a slide deck that has some pre-prepared activities developed in Nearpod. So you have to develop it in Nearpod in order for it to work. You can upload Google Slides into Nearpod and it'll convert to a Nearpod presentation. So here are the steps. I'm going to go over them for those of you watching this on demand. You can pause here. You can open up a second browser and create your Nearpod account, or you can just print this out and do it later on. So print out the PowerPoint and then do it later on. So I'm going to go through it through the PowerPoint, and then I'm going to do a live demonstration similar to what I did for Quizlet. So you create an account by logging on to www.nearpod.com and select the sign up for free button. You can choose to register via an email or via a Google Microsoft account. Students do not need to create a Nearpod account, so very important. Once your account is created, you'll be able to review existing Nearpod resources and select these to use in your class via the Nearpod lesson library function. This library search can be filtered. So you can do it by subject, you can do it by standard, and you'll see all the free and paid content. You can create a content slide deck, which would be step 3 once you select the content. So Google Slides, PowerPoints, PDFs can be uploaded directly into a Nearpod slide deck, or you can just build the slide deck in Nearpod. Once your slide decks are created, you can organize them into relevant folders for ease of retrieval. There are different things you can pick from once you click on a slide. These are all the different options you can have to create the slide. So you can do time to climb, where the students race to the top of a virtual mountain, answering timed questions to move up the mountain. There's open-ended questions. You can allow the students to respond to a trigger question with a free text response that the facilitator can then share back to the class anonymously to initiate a debate. You could do matching pairs, ask the student to match words and related images, similar to what we just did. We can have a quiz, a standard function in most software, and allows the students to document their answer to a question. We just talked about Draw It, which permits students to annotate over a pre-prepared Canvas slide. The annotation could be free drawing or free text. You can do Collaborate, where students can brainstorm activities that support student engagement. So you can put an idea on a board and then have students collaborate and throw out comments and content or images to support the idea that you put up on the board. You can take a poll, which encourages students to note their opinion on a topic. This can be a good way to quickly gauge or a group's initial conceptual understanding of a topic. Fill in the blank requires students to complete the missing word in pre-prepared sentences. And then there's a memory test. It's similar to Go Fish, where students have to pair up and match different things, to see if they can recall the content. And that's just an option of one slide. So once you got all this, you collected the content or uploaded the content and then decided what you want for the slide, then your step 5 would be run a Nearpod enabled session. So at the start of the Nearpod session, you ask your students to log on to Nearpod. They will need a unique 5-character code. And this is generated once you launch the slide deck through the live session. You can then share the session with your students ahead of time through a hyperlink in an email. You can do it through social media, Google Classroom, Remind, or Microsoft Teams. Once the session is launched, the teacher will be able to access it. However, the teacher controls the pace through the slide deck. So this allows you to control the pace and tailor it to the individual students. When students view on their devices, it's all controlled by the teacher, and real-time individual data analytics is provided on engagement and participation. So the final step following the session, a detailed analytics report is forwarded to your email and also available via your dashboard. The report can provide guidance on troublesome topics for your students, can help structure future sessions. You can see what worked, what didn't work, what students enjoyed, what they didn't. Students will receive a personalized report noting their engagement and interaction along with their annotation, submissions, and this can be a great revision resource and allow the students to take ownership of their in-class and outside class learning. So students can do this live, or they can do it at home, or you can do the hybrid option. So another great way to engage your students that have selected hybrid learning. So some warnings. So the connectivity obviously is going to be an issue for the internet and takes up a lot of internet. So you may want to be careful when you have large number of students simultaneously in your classroom logging in, or just talk to your IT support. Accessibility, students are required to have an internet compatible smart device in order to engage in Nearpod class. So students may not wish to use their own data plan, so you want to be careful of that. And then a cost of, we do in the free version. However, this limits the number of students that can simultaneously enter the virtual room. This can be circumvented by group-based activities or the purchase of an annual subscription. All right, so let us, now that we've gone through the PowerPoint, let's look at an actual Nearpod, the website for the last 5 to 10 minutes, and then we will go from there. So here I am going to go back to my Google. Here's my Google and go to Nearpod. So this is Nearpod, which you create your account. You can search the Nearpod library. So here you have your library. You can create, so if I wanted to create a PowerPoint, I would hit create, and then I would get all the options that I showed you on that one slide, but I'm not going to create anything yet. And also would give me reports. Here's my library. So if I liked a Nearpod activity, I can upload it to my library. But let's go to the Nearpod library. So click on Nearpod library. And I have some options here. I can select a lesson. I can select a video. So let's say I wanted lessons. And then I can select a standard. So look at all the different standards by state. So let's say I click on Florida. And let's say I want to do social studies. Pick the grade. Let's say I want 8th grade social studies. And here I see all the Nearpods that are available to me that have already existing. And when you click on it, you'll see free ones and you'll see some that are available for purchase. But look at all those wonderful, exploring Yellowstone, exploring Central Park. So let me click on, let's see if the Central Park works. So here it is, exploring Central Park. Someone has created this. These are the instructions about the unit. Here's a question that I would want the class to answer. These are the objectives. I'm fast forwarding to see if it has the virtual, an example of the virtual too. Let's get started. What do you know about Central Park? So I have the option. I can draw something, I can write something, I can type something, I can put an image. So this is one of those slides that allows the user to do that. Let's explore. All right, so hopefully I'll get the virtual field trip. So here's a virtual field trip. Let's visit Central Park. As you explore, think about what you notice and what questions come to mind. For those of you from New York, this may be an emotional presentation as you reflect and miss that city. So look at this. Here I am in virtual mode, like I'm looking through a looking glass, looking at New York. So that's very cool. See if I can exit the virtual. Hold on, I'm getting some feedback. There's another aspect of Central Park. So look at these wonderful images that are available, very unique for students. So just wanted to show you that aspect of it. So let me go back. Let me clear the search. Let me go back. So I did actually want to walk you through another lesson. So here's one on racial justice that I am looking at for my students. So here's a lesson on racial justice. This one's teacher professional development. I click on teacher professional development. Let's say I wanted to look at restorative practices. So I click on restorative practices. Here's another example of a Nearpod preview. I can add it to my library if I want it, because this is a free resource. Once I add it to the library, I can pick and choose which slides I want to use. But I did want to show you how it's all the Nearpods. Most of them have some type of icebreaker. So here's the icebreaker. If you're doing it live, students would do what's in that icebreaker. Then you can debrief. Here's the question that you would facilitate with the whole group. In the next hour, it tells you what to expect. Here it is, an activity called 4 Corners. So it clearly displays to the student what they can do. And cute animal pictures, the purpose, and I really want to get to the video. Okay, so get ready to watch. So here you're watching, here's a video that's already embedded. I play the video.
Our world is changing at a breathtaking pace. Social patterns that have long characterized human life are changing dramatically around the globe, diminishing.
So there you can see the video's already embedded. So it makes such a fun, easy thing to do once you learn how to do it. So that's the discovery phase. So if there's one, and I don't work for Nearpod, but if there's one that I was going to pay for, this would probably be the one that I do. So there are so many things. If you are interested, put it in the chat. We can have Utilizing Technology 3, just focus on Nearpod, and we can go through all the bells and whistles, and we can also, we can actually do the presentation in Nearpod. So you would get a Nearpod code and we can do that. So if you're interested, because of the limited time, let me just click on create lessons, add slide. So once again, if I wanted to add a slide, this is all the content I can add. I can put a video, a slide, I can put web content. I can use this 3D feature, simulation, do the virtual reality. I can show a BBC World video, Sway, slideshow, audio, PDF viewer, and there's also some activities. I can do the time to climb game, open-ended question, matching pairs, quiz, so many things to choose from with Nearpod. So if you wanted to, we can do another one as well. So,
excuse me, Dr. Rosa, we received a question.
Okay.
The question is from Trisha, does this program have access to the Florida Standards access points?
Let's check here. Let's see. So if I select a standard, I select Florida, and then it gives me the option of ELA, math, science, and social studies. So these are the options you get. You get it by subject. So it gives you subject and then grade. So I'm not quite sure if it has that. That'll be something I'll have to search for and then see when you click on Florida. But for other standards, it says here are the Common Core of CCSS, and you can do ELA math, the NGSS, science, and then NCSS. So there are different options. I just don't know if what that person's looking for. I'll have to look into it to see what they said. But this is what it gives you when you click on Florida. ELA, math, science, or social studies. And then you select the grade. Oh, wait, look, when you click on all strands, hold on, let me see if I can get this on the screen. I'm running out of screen. So if I click on all strands, I do get the option here, describe the characteristics. So there, it does break up by individual standard. So yes, it does do that granular detail. So if I wanted to do grade 5, identify and locate the original 13 calories, I'll click on that. SS5G15. And lo and behold, there is one that meets that. So I guess it's about playing around and seeing what's there. But that is Nearpod, and there's also videos. Well, now it's just showing me that video. So let me clear my standards. If I want to show videos, dominant and recessive traits, how do you know about the Earth's past? There's all these different options. There's also the Microsoft Immersive Reader. So when you're creating your slides, you could use the Microsoft Immersive Reader, and that can help switch to different languages. If I'm looking, there's some Nearpods in different languages. So if I click on Spanish, you'll see Los Colores. You will see content in Spanish. So once again, this was just an exposure to Nearpod because of time. But if you wanted to post it in the chat or send us an email or put it on the feedback form, perhaps we can go more into it if this was of interest to you. Let me get back to my PowerPoint. So that is it for today. We talked about Kahoot. No, we talked about Kahoot, and Flipgrid was the first utilizing technology. Today, we talked about Nearpod and Quizlet. Both of them can help you with your differentiated learning, which is another webinar that's on in the library. Help you with cater to all the diverse learning styles and all the students that are in your class. Those that are visual, that are audio, kinesthetic, everything to make it interactive and fun. And you can also use this with adults. You can use this for your professional development during your teacher conferences. So the sky's the limit with these options. So hopefully my last piece of advice is to create some time where you actually go ahead and set up, because if you see it now and you don't use it, you may have a tendency to forget, and you may be overwhelmed with so many other things to do. So that's why put it on your calendar. Today, I'm going to set up my Quizlet account. I'm going to create a Quizlet account. Today, I'm going to do Nearpod. Well, for the next 30 days, I'm going to do Nearpod and learn that as well. So thank you very much. And my email is mrosa@kaiseruniversity.edu. If you have any questions, by all means, feel free to email me because I know that we've run out of time. So take it away, Dr. Miller.